Hi, I'm Michael, one of your designer co-staff. Today, we'll be going through the basics of making a spread using InDesign. InDesign is a publishing software that we'll be using to put together our spreads. It's where we'll make our layouts and put graphic and textual elements on. So, to start off, let's make a document, a file where we will make our spreads on. In your home screen, you can either click on Create New, or go to File, New, then Document, or just press Ctrl N on your keyboard. In your new document panel, set the units to inches, the width to 8.5 inch, and the height to 11 inch. These are the dimensions of our actual yearbook pages. Then, set pages to 2 and start number to 2. This is how we create a double page spread layout. Leave columns and column getter at their default values of 1 and 0.1667 inch. Set all of margins to 0.5 inch. Margins will be displayed as purple lines that show us where not to place any content. Set all of bleed to 0.125 inch. Bleed will show up as red lines which outline excess page space that will get trimmed off when our printing company actually prints our PDFs. You can extend your photos to bleed lines if you want to create bleeding images, or images that look like they extend to the very edge of your pages. Don't worry about slug, we won't ever be using that. So with all of that down, you can save this as a preset. So click on the Save Document preset here, then title it like Yearbook Spread, and then click Save Preset. It'll be saved under the Save tab here, and then you can just click on that and click Create. And now we have a document for our spread. Now before we even start making anything, I like to make sure that we all have the same layouts for our tools and panels. So just go to the top right corner and click on this Workspace drop down, and make sure you have digital publishing. Obviously later on you can change your workspace, but for now we'll just be sticking with this. You can also reset your workspace if you make any accidental adjustments. Another thing I like to mention is that it's important that you know how to maneuver around your document. So to move around your document, hold space on your keyboard, then click and drag. To zoom in and out of your document, hold Alt and then scroll your mouse wheel. To change your screen mode so you don't see any margins or bleed lines or any frames from your text tool or your rectangle frame, we'll learn about that later, you can just press W, and that'll change your viewing mode from normal to preview, so you can see how your spreads will actually look like. Okay, so with all that out of the way, let's learn some spread making basics. To add text, create a text box by clicking on the type tool here, or pressing T on your keyboard, then left clicking and dragging your cursor to make a text box. You can put whatever you want in here, like your headlines, body copies, or captions. If you want to place filler text to get an idea of how text will look like in your document, you can right click and select Fill with Placeholder Text. Obviously, if you have your actual writing from your writers, you can copy and paste that in. This is just a random Wikipedia article. As a heads up, if you have text that doesn't completely fit in the text box, like this, a red square with a plus sign will show up and an arrow will be counted. To fix this, you can adjust your text box dimensions, and you can do that by using the selection tool here and clicking on the text box and dragging a corner. Or with the selection tool again, you can click on the red square here and drag a new frame for your text. To make any adjustments to your text, like its font, size, color, spacing, or alignment, you can use the character formatting controls. To access that, make sure you have your type tool on and you highlight all the text you want to change. So the character formatting controls will be here. To change your font, you can click on this font drop down panel and scroll to find whatever font you want, or you could type it up. You can also star your fonts so that they show up in your favorite fonts so they're more easier to access. To change the style of your font, so if it's like italicized or bold, you can select the font style drop down here. To change the font size, you can change the numbers here. To change the vertical spacing or the leading, you can change it here. To change the horizontal spacing or the tracking, you can change it here. To make your text all caps, you can click this. To change the color of your font, you can change this, and you can select whatever color you want. Or you can have a preset color here. Just click on a random color, and then click New Swatch, find that color, and then click on the color icon here. And you can put whatever value you want. Make sure you're in the color mode CMYK, because that's the color mode that our printing company uses. If you want to have an outline for your text, just click this color icon here and choose a color. To change the thickness of your outline, press F10 and then change the weight. You can also type it in. To change your text alignment, like if it's left aligned, center aligned, or right aligned, you can find those options here. So left align, center align, and right align. To make adjustments to how your paragraphs are formatted, like the indenting or spacing between paragraphs or creating columns, you can use the paragraph formatting controls up here. To change the alignment, we have the alignment options here again. To have an indent before each first word of a paragraph, you can change the number for first line left indent here. To change the spacing between all paragraphs, you highlight all your paragraphs and then change the number for space before or space after. And it doesn't matter which one you use because they give you the same results. However, if you just want to change the spacing for one specific paragraph, you can highlight it and then change its space after and space before. To add columns to your text, adjust the number of columns here. Don't worry about the gutter, we'll just leave it at 1p, and the p stands for pica, which is a measurement that stands for 0.17 of an inch. To add a photo, you can go to File, then Place, and then click a photo, and just click and drag to however large you want your photo to be. To crop your photo, drag in one of the corners. To resize your crop from the center, so like not from one of the edges, but from the center, just hold Alt while dragging a corner. To resize your crop proportionally, so like maintaining this rectangular shape, hold Shift and drag a corner. And notice how it's maintaining the rectangle shape. To resize your crop both proportionally and centered, hold Shift and Alt and drag a corner. To move the photo within your cropped frame, either double click on your photo and then move it around, or click the center circle and move that around. To move the photo around the document, hold Control and drag your photo. And here's a little pro tip. A blue outline means you're moving the actual photo around, and orange outline means you're moving the photo within the frame. To resize your photo, hold Control, Shift, and then drag the corner. To resize your photo proportionally and from the center, hold Control, Alt, Shift, and drag a corner. Another way to have photos in your document is by using the frame tools to make a frame and then placing photos in that frame. If you right click on this icon, you can open up all the frame tools. We have the rectangle frame tool here, which we can make rectangular frames with and also square frames with. So to make a symmetrical square selection, hold Shift and drag your cursor. We have a square here. With the ellipse frame tool here, we can make elliptical frames and also circular frames. And to make a circle, just hold Shift and drag. And we have the polygon frame tool here, which we can make any other polygon we want. Just double click and adjust your polygon settings. So if we wanted a triangle, we could change the number of sides to 3, and we have a triangle. If we want a hexagon, we could just change the number of sides to 6, and we have a hexagon. You can change the specifics in here. Using the frame tool is good if you want to make a layout without having to worry about your actual photos. You can plan where you want to place your photo and how large they should be with respect to other photo frames, text, and graphic elements. Okay, so back to our frame. When you place a photo in your frame, it won't always fit perfectly. You can use the frame alignment tools here, right here, if you'd like to align your photo in a specific way. So we have the fill frame proportionally. It's going to fit your entire photo within the frame while maintaining your photo's proportions. We have fit content proportionally, which is going to fit your photo within the frame, but it's going to leave out some empty edges. We have fit content to frame, but you should never use that because it stretches the photos. We have fit frame to content, which is going to cut down your frame so it fits to the photo. We have center content, which is really useful if you accidentally move your photo like way out of frame. So just click on that and it's going to recenter it. And then we have content aware fit. And InDesign is going to try to fit your photo so that the main subjects are in focus. We can also do the same things I mentioned before to modify our photo's crop and size. So to crop your photo, just drag one of the corners. To resize your crop from the center, hold Alt and drag a corner. To resize your crop proportionally, hold Shift and drag a corner. To resize your crop both proportionally and centered, hold Shift and Alt and then drag a corner. To move the photo within your cropped frame, either double click on the photo and move it, or move the center circle around. To move the photo around the document, hold Control and drag the photo. And again, orange outline means you're moving the photo within the frame, and blue outline means you're moving the actual photo around the document. To resize your photo, hold Control and Shift and drag a corner. And to resize your photo proportionally and from the center, hold Control, Alt, Shift and drag a corner. To make a custom frame, you can use the pen tool. So just click on that icon or press P on your keyboard. With the pen tool, we can click to make anchor points, which are connected by line segments. So you can make a bunch of straight lines, or you can make some curved lines. To make a curved line, just click and hold, and then move your cursor around. So the way that curved line segments work is that they follow these handles. To adjust those curve handles, you can hold Alt on your keyboard, then click and hold on an anchor point and move your mouse around. You can adjust one specific curve handle by holding Alt on your keyboard and then clicking a handle endpoint and moving that around. So I'm making it more curvy here, and I'm going to make it less curvy now. To move an anchor point, you hold Control and then you can move a point. To finish your frame, just connect the endpoints. So, like that. And then if you want to get rid of this outline, just click the arrow right here and select None. So your frame is basically done now. Just place the photo in there. If you have different layers you like aligned a certain way, you can use the alignment tools in the top mid here. And to access that, make sure every layer is selected. So if I don't have anything selected, then they won't show up. But if I click on this rectangle icon, then they will show up. So first of all, select all the layers you like aligned. And you can do that by either clicking and highlighting all your layers, or by holding Shift on your keyboard, then clicking all the layers you want. So I'm holding Shift and I'm going to click on these layers. Next, select the reference point you want all your layers to be aligned to. So align to selection, it's going to make alignments referencing this blue perimeter of all your layers. Align to key object, you select a key object and all your alignments will be based on that key object. So if I wanted all these layers to be aligned to the left edge of this ellipse, then I could select this ellipse as a key object, then click on Align Left Edges. Align to margins, it's going to align your layers to the closest margins thereby. So in this example, it'll be these margins. Align the page, it's going to align these layers to the closest page. And align the spread, it's going to align your layers to this entire spread. So finally, just click on one of these alignment options. So align left, align center, align right, top align, center align, and left align. Also, you notice that whenever I select on align top edges or center edges or bottom edges, all these layers are being smushed together. And that's because the alignment is being acted on all these individual layers. If you want to maintain their original spacing, what you can do is turn all these layers into a group. So just select all these layers and then press Ctrl G on your keyboard. And now all these layers will act as a single layer and they maintain their spacing. So if I align them, they will maintain that spacing. So top align, center align, and bottom align. If you want to ungroup them so they revert back to individual layers, just select this group and press Ctrl Shift G on your keyboard. And now they're individual layers again. You could also have the vertical spacing or horizontal spacing between your layers be equal. To do that, select your layers, click on an alignment reference, and then click on either distribute vertical centers or distribute horizontal centers. So for example, if I had these blue rectangles right here and I want to make their vertical spacing equal, I could select them, choose a alignment reference, and then click on distribute vertical centers. And now there's equal vertical spacing between all these blue rectangles. The same thing can be done for vertical spacing. So select your layers, choose an alignment reference, and then click on distribute to horizontal centers. And now they have equal horizontal spacing. If you want the order of your layers to be different, like for example this photo layer to go behind this text layer and this rectangle layer, you can do one of two things. The first thing you can do is select your layer, right click on it, go to Arrange, and then click on the option you'd like. Since we want this photo to go behind everything, we'll just send it to the back. So click on Send to Back here, or use its hotkey Control Shift left bracket. So when I click on it, you'll notice that this layer gets sent to the back. Another thing you can do to rearrange your layers is to go to the Layers panel here, and then move your layer to whatever order you'd like it to be. You'll notice that all these layers are very confusingly named. So a thing you can do is just click on your layer, and then a square of some color will show up beside your layer. And as you can see from this display, the square indicates selected items. So you can just drag your layer to whatever order you'd like it to be, which is the back. And again, this photo goes to the back now. One text effect we'll be incorporating in this year's book is text wrap. Like it says in its name, text wrap is where you have text wrap around something. For example, this text wraps around this cutout of Usain Bolt, and this text wraps around this quote box. To create a text wrap effect, go to Window, then click on Text Wrap. Drag this panel to your right side. Then click on a layer, and in your text wrap panel, select either Wrap Around Bounding Box or Wrap Around Object Shape, depending on what you want. Wrap Around Bounding Box will have text wrap around the rectangular perimeter of your layer. So for example, the rectangle perimeter around this quote box, or the rectangle perimeter along this cutout of Usain Bolt. You should select this option for things like quote boxes. So if I click on this quote box, select Wrap Around Bounding Box, and drag it to the text, you'll notice that the text wraps around this quote box. The other option, Wrap Around Object Shape, will have text wrap around the outline of a layer. You should use this option for things like cutouts or shapes. So if I click on this cutout of Usain Bolt and select Wrap Around Object Shape and drag the text to him, you'll notice that the text wraps around the outline of Usain Bolt. Also, if you're going to have a cutout, make sure that your cutout is a PNG photo with an invisible background. Also, in the contour options, make sure that your type is set to alpha channel. This will create an outline along your subject that text will wrap around. If you had anything else, then that outline would not exist. You could also have text wrap around the shape. So if I use the polygon tool and make a triangle and select wrap around object shape for it, text wraps around that triangle. You can also make adjustments to your text wrap, like the spacing between an object and a shape, by changing the offset here. Or the wrap to options, which allows you to change where text wraps. So like text only wrapping on the right side, or text wrapping only on the left side, or both left and right side. There's a variety of options here.